Drop a bomb, 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 bomb.
Back with a vengeance. KG's back with an entrance. Big up to those in attendance.
Ooh, look at this.
Reds come together like Tetris. No rules, this one's reckless. KG, this one's crazy.
You're too look at this.
None can compare with the KG Don. Better take cover when he drops that.
Bomb,
Going on reckless, trust it's on. It's that time when he drops that.
Bomb, bomb. I said drop a bomb, Dad.
Yes, people. What's really good? My name is Joe Blackman. You should know me by now. And if you don't know me, you should know Riri. And if you don't know me, you should know Widget. And if you don't know me, you should definitely know Uncle. Stop playing with me by now.
I have two fingers up in the air too. Just that you can't see.
Let's put your hands up in the air. Listen, as I was saying, listen, guys.
At this point, I feel like you're hiding from the FBI or the CIA or somebody.
Me?
Yeah, you unks.
I'm not gonna say anything about Uncle's.
Yeah, let's just leave it like that.
Yeah, just leave it like that. Yeah, sorry about the lateness, people. I'm still waiting for certain people to pull up. I had some special guests for today. I don't think you know, but if they pull up, we shall see. But hopefully they do, because there's two people that I'm waiting for right now that will be extra special delegate elders if they actually pull up. But say less. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say less. But the subject that we're talking about today, people, on the Reckless Roundtable is, do you know what? I feel like this is a subject we talk about every single time on the Reckless Roundtable, if I'm being honest. Is Ruben Amorim. Who's talking about Ruben Amorim one more time? Now, I don't want to lead this conversation because I feel like I've been vocal enough over the last couple of shows that I've been on. I've made my situation pretty clear. And for those who don't know where I stand with Ruben Amorim, I'm not Ruben Amorim out yet. I actually feel sorry for Ruben Amorim. That's how I feel for Ruben Amorim. I feel sorry for Ruben Amorim because, you know what? He needs this summer. They brought him into a situation. I actually want, after time of reflection, I feel like now I could say that Ineos need a big side eye. Ineos is the guys that we should be really looking at, and Ineos is the guys that we should be saying that, what have they really done to Ruben Amorim, and how are they treating him? You can call me flip-flop all you want, yeah? Woodside, whoever is in here calling me flip-flop, you have time to reflect. I don't know what you guys do in your spare time, but I like Manchester United, and I sit there and I think, what the hell? Especially when you do this stupid streaming stuff, yeah? You wake up the next morning and think, what did I just say last night? Yeah. So I'm telling you this right now. Yesterday, I was like, you know what? I was cussing, I was crashing, and I'm an emotional guy. But I'll tell you this right now. I feel like the eyes should be on Ineos. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Anybody that wants to take the floor right now, please take it, because I've got a lot of things to say, but I don't want to take up the floor too much. So please, anybody, please take the floor.
Uncle Riri, you guys go first. I'll go after you guys.
I mean, I've said where I stand with Amorim. I don't know what else I should say or could say. I mean, I've given my opinion on this topic, I think, several times. I don't have anything extra to say. Like I've said that he needs a summer window. I've also said on this same show, you cannot coach desire, you cannot coach mentality, and you cannot coach wanting to play for the badge. Those things are on individuals to want to do.
All right. Do you know, though, Riri, I have to ask you this question then, because I know that you've expressed your feelings on this team and this kind of situation already, yeah. But given the last match, because I got emotional on the last match in particular, because you know what? He put out a very strong team. It was a very strong team that we saw on the weekend, right?
You think that team was a very strong team?
It was a team
strong
as he could put out for our team.
Okay.
Not strong in the Premier League, strong as he could put out for our team. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I know it's not a strong team in terms of like the Premier League, but it's as strong as he could put out. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, and the way I see it is that if that's the strongest team you could put out, where's the? It can't be that team's not going to be too much different from the final. Yeah, it's not going to be too much different. People like Mount, people like Hoyland, people like Maguire. All these guys that were starting, they're going to be people that are going to probably start in the final. And when we get
Okay,
there,
so
is
I
that what
said
we
this.
expected?
I
Is
said
that
this.
what we
I said this on a couple of streams. In 2025, our back line is still Maguire, Lindelof, and Shaw. Think about that. 2025, and our back line still consists of Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, and Luke Shaw.
I mean, look, on the positive, Lindelof's gone. Lindelof's
No,
gone.
but that's I'm speaking to what Joy's asking me, Wajid.
No, I hear it, but I mean,
these are all men that this fan base has cussed, has stoned, have. So that's why when you said he put out the strongest team,
it is though.
I'm just
it
saying.
is.
3 years ago, man wasn't thinking Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire was part of a strong team, bro.
It was as strong as it could get from now.
The reason I'm saying that is to get to my point. The fickleness of this fan base in order to push their agenda or push their opinions, it will change. It will always change. The narrative will continue to change.
You see, I have been watching KG since the match yesterday, and I mentioned this thing before, and it's what has been happening even up until the show that they had a few hours ago, United View. What happens is we hear something or we see something, right? And while there might be multiple truths, we pick one angle, one very acute angle, and then from that very acute angle, we start thinking about it and overanalyzing it and breaking it down and dividing it into micro components and expanding on it. And suddenly, something that should have been a very small footnote, we blow it out of proportion and then we start worrying ourselves about it. That thing was on its own. It was not as big as it was that as we made it. We blew it and blew it and blew it out of proportion. And then we start getting frustrated over something we blew out of proportion that isn't really as big as we are making it out to be. That is the problem with a lot of Man United fans. Now, am I saying Amorim has not done terribly this so far? He has not done well. Obviously, he has to be accountable. He has to be held accountable. This run of form in the league is poor, right? It is bad to have those number almost twice the number of losses than wins. It's bad. It's very, very bad. But for the context of the last few matches we have played in the league, I said it when we played the match against Bournemouth, and I can't remember the other match we played. First of all, this is the end of the season. A lot of these players know that there is nothing to play for in the league. What the players, as at how far we had come in the Europa League, the players just wanted to be sure that we are safe. You can say Amorim this, Amorim that, Amorim this, Amorim that. But no matter how those players are motivated, first of all, we are toothless in front of goal, regardless of how many chances we create. And like they were saying in the full view, that how will a big club like Manchester United have only one striker? A big club like Man United have a small boy, not even like a proven striker, a small boy as our number 9. Is what magic is Amorim going to work there? Was Rasmus not underperforming? What are the options for him on the bench to bring him to improve our goal scoring? Even in the Europa, that we are, isn't not other
That's
players
it,
that have
though.
been stepping up to score goals.
But this is the thing, though, Uncle. Yeah, you see, when you say that, yeah, we have options, but he's not willing to use them. So, is it a thing of where he's
Who is the
What are
striking
the, Joe,
option?
what are the options? Joe, what are the options?
Wait, 1 second. I was about to say Cheeto. I was literally about to
He
say
can't.
it. You know,
But
I love it that you
Cheeto,
guys are ready to.
Cheeto can't play. Cheeto can't play in Europe next.
No, I wasn't talking about Europe. I wasn't talking about Europe. I was talking about in the
Yeah, the
Premier
last
League.
time Trudeau
Top
played
league.
in the Premier League, what did he do?
You was talking about the Prem, right?
Yeah,
and
but
I was talking about the Prem.
But even still, right?
He's still another unproven player.
Yeah, right. It's a 7 year. Okay, you go from a 21-year-old guy who can't score to a 17-year-old developmental kid whose first season in the big.
Is that where Man
right?
United is?
Right, and forget all the hype that everyone came, whether it was, oh, we've taken someone from Arsenal tax or the African tax, whatever hype there was. The fact of the matter is a 17-year-old kid led the line. He's not ready, and when he led the line, he was terrible. Yeah, the kid needs to go out on loan or spend no, Joe. He was shit the last time. When he led the line, he was shit.
Don't say shit. Yeah, I know.
No. Joe. It is very no. He said when. Oh, Joe, hold on. He said when he led the line the last time. He did not say Chido as an individual or as a player.
I never
He said
that's
in the
what he said.
context of
Let's
that
not
match.
say shit. I don't think in that match he was shit.
He did nothing, Joe. He did nothing.
But okay.
He did nothing.
All right. You know what? Everybody has an opinion, innit? Yeah. Look, all I'm just gonna say, look, we don't have to agree. If you think like he did absolute shit, then he did absolute shit. I'm trying to keep my calm head today. I'm trying to be the calm Joe Blackman that you've ever I'm doing truth is truth.
But
yeah?
don't.
Right?
But don't. Do what you gotta do.
No, because honestly, yeah, in realistic form, yeah, I do not get mad at when he's playing the youth. This is one thing I think everybody needs to realize, yeah. I've been saying for the longest time, if he just plays the youth in the league, yeah, and intertwine some of the guys that you want to be playing for the Europa, I'll be much happier with that than him keep on playing strong teams like he did on the weekend, get people injured, yeah, and obviously you can't account for injuries in it. You can't account. You don't know who's going to get injured no matter who you play. But at the same time, you didn't have to play such a strong team, especially when you know that these guys are going to go out there and do nothing.
Okay, so
let
me ask you something. Instead of, because I know everybody was cussing and carrying on when Euro went down, right? Instead of Euro, who should he have played? Because you already had Harry. You already had Harry and Shaw in that back line. So he should have started Lindelof, Harry, and Shaw in that back line.
And that is one thing. Another thing is, even if you don't play Euro in this match, Euro cannot miss 2 matches. Cannot not play football between now and the Europa League finals. He needs a run of game time. So if he didn't play in this match and he played against Chelsea and got injured, we will still be having this same conversation.
No, of course.
There was nothing the manager could have done.
Yeah, you can't bench these players till the Europa. They'll be cold.
For 2 matches. Exactly.
Cold.
So there's nothing the manager could have done.
Not logical.
So okay, do you know what? I hear that, yeah, but don't they have training in between this time?
Would you rather him play West Ham where you know they're not going to kick him than go play Chelsea, who you know are going to attack?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, the one thing I would have to say as well is that you don't have to play such a strong team. I'm not saying Euro in particular. Please let me just
No. But
be.
I was saying
Let me be.
the day of when you were saying about the injuries, the day of the match, when Euro went down in certain group chats and certain live streams, people were cursing at Amorim and saying it, Amorim sent him out there to get injured or whatever the case may be.
Well, I find that to be stupid. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'm gonna say that right now. I find that to be stupid because obviously, what's the manager to do apart from look? The only thing I can't say.
By the way,
It's
do
gonna
we
be
even
one of
know what the
it's gonna
injury?
be one of
Hold
them.
up. Do we even know? I'm sorry. This was Mother's Day weekend, so I wasn't like too keen on football or any sports. Do we know what the injury is? Did they say?
Not that I've seen anywhere.
Nobody
Let me have
said
a look.
anything.
They said that he could be recovering sooner than rather than later. If I'm being honest,
That's all. They didn't even say what the injury was.
So would we have preferred? Would we have preferred if he's gonna recover? Let's say we don't know what it is, and the club might be keeping it under wraps so that they don't give any information away to Tottenham, right? So would we have preferred Euro injures now and has a week plus to recover, or we play him in the Chelsea match and he injures and doesn't have enough time to recover? Because he has to play football one way or the other before the finals. So what would we have preferred?
That's what I'm saying. I would take him in West Ham than I would take him in Chelsea.
I mean, it's not that. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, look. Once again, you guys are thinking. I think you're conflating everything together like it's one big thing. Yeah. Once again, no, I'm not saying he shouldn't have played Euro. That's not one thing that came out my mouth. That's not. And if you guys can say that you heard me say that,
What
then I
you
think you're
said,
lying.
But
What
what
I'm
you
trying
said
to
is
say
the
is he
strong
you're
shouldn't have
team.
saying he
played
played
such
a
a.
strong team, right? That's what
Yeah,
you're
but
saying.
Okay,
every
I
player
could
would
say I
have.
could say it myself. I could say it myself, and you could hear exactly what
All
I'm
right,
saying, though,
so
innit?
Joe,
Just
all right,
hold
so
on, hold
go on,
on, just hold
go
on.
on.
Let me
Let
No,
say
no,
it
go
Josie
on.
work.
myself.
No, that's go on, go on, go on.
Let me say it myself. All I want to say is that I think he shouldn't have played such a strong team. And once again, I don't think you can't say, oh, this guy would have got injured, that guy would have got injured, because you don't know, in it, yeah. But what I'm saying is, it would have been less chance if you had played a less strong team. Yeah,
Okay.
why couldn't you have played a less strong team? We didn't need it if we're
Because
not really concentrating on the league. I'd
because
be
you
less mad at the league as well if you played youth.
because you can't go into a league final with your players not playing for nearly 2 weeks. That's
But you can
ridiculous.
interchange half the people, bro. What I'm saying, they don't all have to start. All those
Yeah,
players
but Joe,
didn't
But
have
what
to
we
he
are
did
start.
that.
saying,
But he did that
Joe,
60 minutes way through, Joe. He did it 60
Let me
minutes way
let
through.
me
Joe, I
actually
get your point. Let me, Joe, I get your point. But the point still remains. Would you rather he starts the strong players in the West Ham match, or he starts them in the Chelsea match, closer to the Europa League, and if something happens to them, we are doomed? Which one would you rather? Because they have to play a game between now and the finals. So would you rather they started the West Ham, where there was really nothing at stake for West Ham, or the Chelsea match, where Chelsea are fighting for Champions League and they're going to be more aggressive and they have better quality players and they're likely to go harder on Man United? Which one would you have chosen?
All right, I'm ready. You ready? You ready for my answer? My
Yeah.
answer is you start 6 youth players and buy in, or well, 5 youth players and buy in there, yeah, right? And then the other 5 players are also youth players that you are ready to sub. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 people might start that you are going to also sub. Yeah, depending on which way you want to do it. Yeah, but 5 people that are going to be in the final, you either start them or you're bringing them on, whichever way you want to do it. What I'm saying to you is not everybody should be playing. That's my opinion. My opinion is play the youth for most of the team, and the people that you want in the finals, you interchange them because they need to get some running in their legs. That's how I feel. If you feel different, that's what you feel different in it.
But
But
why are the youth getting a running in their legs when they're not the ones playing the finals? Number one.
oh, because the
Number
reason
two,
because I don't want my players getting injured. That's the main piece. I don't want them injured for the finals. I
so,
want
but
everybody ready.
Joe, I get what you're saying. But let me paint the scenario you're trying to let's say he saves Lenny Euro. He didn't play Euro. Euro is one of the players that he saves for the Chelsea match. Okay, and then he plays some of the strong teams against West Ham, and Euro is on the bench. And then in the Chelsea game, he plays Euro, and Euro gets injured. What will happen?
Oh, he's injured now.
My point exactly. So we don't know whether the manager is going to play the young players against Chelsea to give the senior players time to rest. And that is why he played them now. You don't know what the manager is going to play against Chelsea. Maybe he's going to play the young boys against Chelsea, bring in the senior players towards the end, maybe final 10, 15 minutes. We don't know what he's going to do.
Strong teams. All I'm saying is I don't want to see strong teams. Period.
You see that question you landed? Because I was going to ask that question after Uncle.
Which one? Sorry.
Which 5 youths?
Which 5 youths? You said 5 youths. So if he had 5 youths to start that game yesterday, who would have been the 5 youths?
Okay, for me, I would start Amas, obviously. I would start Chido. I would start Collier. I would start
Is Collier fit?
Collier's still out.
Yeah.
He's still out.
Yes.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I would start what's his name? Oh, you know what? I would start Luke Shaw because he's not one of my main guys, yeah?
But he might
Luke Shaw might
start the
I
final.
don't like Luke Shaw, bro. Yeah. I'm just telling you, yeah. Oh, Fredrickson's a good one. Yeah. Fredrickson, look, you're asking me. I'm just telling you. I think Luke Shaw would be the senior guy in the pitch for me. Luke Shaw would be the senior guy.
So that's 3. Where's the other 2?
Okay. Fredrickson's there. Yeah.
That's 3. That's 3. Where's the other 2?
Fredrickson,
3. I keep on saying 3.
Bayern Dare would obviously start, yeah. And then also I would.
We ain't doing the keeper. We ain't doing the keeper. You're having a howler. You're having a howler. Like you can't even name 5.
Can I do the keeper?
You can't because Joe, you can't even name Joe.
No.
You can't even name 5 youth players.
Stop. Okay. If I can't name 5 youth players, that's embarrassing. Okay.
Was Montato on the bench yesterday?
Well, not the ones that are available anyway, because you guys are telling me that.
Was Montato on the bench yesterday?
Was who on the bench? Sorry.
Montato. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I don't.
Yeah, that boy. I don't know if he's on the bench.
I'll got the. Let me go. I got the.
Was Ferguson even on the bench yesterday, or whatever?
No.
Fredrickson was on the bench.
Fredrickson. Okay.
Obi was on the bench. The others were.
I would have started Obi though. Listen. Let me just be honest with you, yeah. Even if I can't name 5 youth that are available right this second,
we only have 3, Joe. We only have 3. To be fair, we
like
have.
I said,
do you know why this?
Fredrickson, Obi, and Amas.
Fredrickson, Obi, yeah, Amas, yeah. Even though the only 3 that I could name, yeah. The fact of the matter is, yeah, I wouldn't understand why we don't just start them.
No, but Joe,
if he doesn't think that we can do anything in the league.
Right, hold on.
I don't think this conversation.
What about Ericsson? So why don't we use Ericsson and people like that we don't think are going to be used as well? What about Ericsson?
But Ericsson came on the pitch for half an hour. He got half an hour.
Came on. I said, why don't we start?
Do you know if Ericsson is going to start against Chelsea?
I don't know that. Of course not.
It's the hair. But do you know the thing? I don't even feel like this conversation is necessary because at the end of the day, it was only one player that got injured. These people you're saying don't start. They played and they finished the game, and we've not had any injury complaints. So what exactly are we flogging? Minus Lenny Euro, right? Minus Lenny Euro. The time that De Ligt got injured when he came back, was it not youth that they played in that match? Did you stop De Ligt from getting injured? When he came in just before the semi-finals, and he got injured, and they had to sub him off in the Premier League match. I can't remember the team that we played. De Ligt came in and got injured, and they subbed him off. And then Luke Shaw.
You mean the last game against Brentford, the one he just got?
Was it the last game? Yes, that one.
Yeah,
it didn't change. Exactly. It didn't change anything that they played the youths or they played. We lost the game. The fans lost their head, even though we played the youths. You
I'm not
understand?
talking about
And
the
and
fans
then
though,
now,
Uncle. Uncle, look. This is one thing,
no,
yeah.
no,
I
Joe,
really
I
need
get
to
what
stop
you're saying.
separating it. I'm not the fans, yeah. I'm just trying to tell you
I
my
get what you're
opinion in it,
saying,
yeah.
Joe. I get what you're saying. You don't get what I'm saying. That's the problem. I get what you're saying. You want
I'm gonna be
rotation.
quiet. I
You
really want
want
to
him to
listen.
play
I
the
want to listen.
you want him to play the youth, right? And I'm guessing you want him to play the youth so that the other players are saved for the Europa finals. Is that what you want?
In terms of yes, start most of the youth and then rotate the people that you want to play in the finals. That's what my opinion is. Yes, that's what my opinion is. Yes,
But we have
that's
two
what I would
two
do.
games to do that. We had 2 games to do that. We had this one against West Ham that is a low stake game because technically West Ham are not going anywhere whether they win or lose. And we have a very high stake game against Chelsea. So I think it was only sensible to play the first team players and bring in the young ones in the second half. And then in the game against Chelsea, you start the fringe players and then close to the end of the match, you bring in the first team players so that they just get a bit of run on their legs ahead of the Europa. I think it makes more sense like that.
Let me ask one question to the whole panel right here, yeah, because I feel like maybe I'm living in a la la land or something, yeah. I don't know. Am I being dumb? Everybody here, explain to me, please, yeah. Mainly Riri and Wajid, yeah, because Uncle's been explaining to me for a little while. Am I moving mad for saying that I think the manager is being dumb in certain situations, or what? Am I not allowed to say nothing about this
No, no, no,
manager?
you
Because I
are.
feel like
You
this
are.
manager's fucked.
Listen,
I believe I'm gonna.
I am all for constructive criticism. I am
I'm not really.
all
I'm
for
not being
constructive.
personal towards
I
him.
am all for
I'm,
constructive. Agenda-based criticism, however, is a different story.
do you feel like I've been agenda based towards this manager thus far?
I
Please let me
think
know.
I think your energy for this manager is totally different than when it was for the last manager
So,
because you
but does
have
it
a
have to be the same?
hang on, you wanted me to explain, so let me explain, right? Because you still have a bias to the last manager. End of the day, we prefer European glory over the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Let's be perfectly honest. Right?
You know what? Yeah, can I just say one thing? All right, let me just explain something. Yeah, it's not necessarily a bias because of the last manager. Let me get this THDL shit out my system. Yeah,
It's never gonna leave.
The
is
the
me
chat
never.
saying you need Charles to balance out this panel.
No,
Apparently,
listen, I'm
No,
gonna. It's fine. I
it's
can
just one
protect my
guy
neck.
losing it's just one guy losing his mind. It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about me. Don't worry. Everybody knows who I am, and I've not lost my mind yet. Yeah, because I'm trying to be reasonable in my understanding of how I'm dealing with situations right now. Yeah, and this is what I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be honest with the whole of the Reckless delegation right now. Yeah, because let me be real. The main reason why I have been so reluctant to back this manager the way that I backed the last manager, number one is because of all of you dickheads. Every single one of you delegates out there that didn't want me to back the fucking manager last season and told me that I was a dickhead for doing what I did last season. This is the reason why I'm not backing
But
this
you
manager
were
like I
now.
backed that one.
wait, you
I
are
never asked you nothing, Uncle.
blaming.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Let him
Yeah?
finish. Let him finish.
All I'm
Go on.
gonna say is this. This is the reason. I've never said is you guys ought to listen. This is the reason. I've decided that I know now that there's no point in backing a manager the way that you back a manager the last time, yeah. Because number one, you can see that there is problems in what he's doing.
Which is a fair
And
criticism.
last is a fair criticism, right? And last season, when I feel like I was blindly backing the manager in certain situations, right? people were telling me certain things and I weren't listening because I thought that, you know what, just give him some time and then you will see it come good. Now, I feel like I'm hearing the same arguments that I was creating last season or the season before, and people are telling me to do the same thing. I'm like, but hold on. When I'm telling you the same thing that you was telling me, why is it that I must believe in your project, but you didn't believe in mine? And I think it may be a little bit of either, I don't know, what's the word? It might be the word even maybe jealousy that everybody else is believing in that but not believing in mine. But the thing is, I feel it's
hypocrisy is the word you're looking for.
but maybe even hypocrisy. Thank you. That's the better word. Sorry, yes, because it's so much hypocrisy from the other side. I feel when it comes to this situation, it's like you can't just look at the situation and go, "Oh my God, the man is actually doing that bad." And what Joe was saying last season is what I'm saying now. That's why me and Bot, sorry, are having so much back and forth because I'm like, bro, you sound exactly like me last season. But I think that's enough explaining. I'm gonna shut up now. Everybody else take the floor.
Well,
I talk too much.
I'll respond first, and I'll give the floor to everyone. Joe, when this guy came in, everyone said, whatever happens, happens as long as we don't get relegated because he plays. Okay, minus you, fine, minus you. Okay, fine, minus you, right? Whatever, minus you. Everyone said, whatever happens, happens. And you know what? This is the only time in my life I'm on stream I'm ever going to agree with someone like Marken. Marken has come on here consistently and says Man United fans are not ready for a rebuild. Man United fans don't have the patience for a rebuild, right? And it is totally true. The guy plays a totally different style, a totally different system. He has less players than Ten Hag did. When Ten Hag started in August, you can absolutely talk he's got 6 wins in 25. It is disgusting. It is not good enough. However, just like Ten Hag, his cup form is currently keeping him in his job. Now, for me, all right, if he does not win the Europa, then there are some serious conversations to be had. But at the end of the day, we still have a chance of Champions League football. First time in 2 seasons, and again, he has less players than when he came in. We let Rashford go. We let Anthony go. We got. Well, I mean, K-Flow, you're gonna have to find that. We let Anthony go. We let Rashford go. We brought in 2 17-year-olds and Dorgu and that kid and the Peruvian or Paraguayan kid from South America. His Leon. All right. Ten Hag had the reason people were sick of Ten Hag, in my opinion. He had 2 and a bit years. Yeah, he had £600+ million to buy whoever he wanted, to implement the style he wanted, to implement what he wanted. There was no change. This man was not forced out of his job, but he was gone. It is now or never in a league where he was gonna go back to back with the team which had wiped the floor with Man City, and for all intents and purposes, we're going to finish top 8 in the Champions League, to come and implement his system. For me, if he doesn't win Europa, there's a whole different conversation. If he wins the Europa, what is the harm in giving the man the summer, we in the Champions League, and doing what we do? Now the floor's everyone else's.
Do you know what? I love what you said, yeah, and I know I would love Riri to speak next year because me, Uncle, and Wedge have said quite a lot on this subject, and I would love to hear what Riri has to say about it because it's starting to become the situation where I feel that everybody thinks I hate him. I actually feel sorry for him. I was gonna jump on this morning show and say that, do you know what? Yeah, I feel like I needed to push back a little bit on what I said myself last night and say that, do you know what? Let's focus a little bit more on Ineos and what they've done to this manager in the first place, because they've kind of put him in a sticky situation. Yeah, they put him in a situation where it's effed. Let me not swear. They put him in a situation where it's effed, and he has to sort it out to the point where he looks frustrated himself. Even in his press interviews, he's like, I don't even know what to do with this freaking team. Yeah. But Riri, please, how do you feel about it?
So, That Menace Pav said something this morning on the show that I found interesting. When he was calling for Amorim to be fired, he also said Barada should go. Because Barada brought him in, right? I say that to elaborate on what you just said. This man didn't want to come here mid-season. He didn't want to come here in October. He wanted to come here at the end of this season. The powers that be that are now making the decisions at Manchester United said, no, it's either you come now or you don't come at all. Now, if, you're trying to get with a girl and you say, nah, babes, I'm tomorrow night or next week. And she be like, brethren, if you ain't step now, don't ever step. You come.
I respect it though, right?
You show up. You show up, right? But you ain't ready to do what you got to do. Or you ain't got the tools to do what you got to do. And you ain't pop off. Right? You ain't pop off. You's like, yo, anxiety, nervous, whatever it is, right? All these different things, right? You would want that girl to be like, yo, all right, we're going to try this again. Or you going to want a baddie. It's a baddie. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk like y'all dudes talk. It's a baddie. Right?
Go on, I'm listening. Listening. I can't stop.
And your homeboys, you go to your brethren, you like, yo, this happened, boom, boom, boom. If she didn't give you another chance, right? Or she didn't give you, time to get your situation up. And she just dead you.
What is?
I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Are we still talking? Are we still talking about football? Are we still talking about football?
Talk to me.
Are we still talking about football?
And I'm gonna wrap this up right now. What I'm trying to say is, y'all men,
I understand you.
Y'all men, right? Y'all switch up on this dude that came in October, does not have the tools that he needs to do what he wants to do with the formation that he plays. And y'all out here crucifying this man. But if y'all are put in a similar situation, y'all want vindication, right? Y'all want to be given a second chance, right? Y'all want
in the way that happens to me, if I can't get the tools off, I'm good. I'm not coming back.
You're not
I'm never
coming
returning.
back. All right.
I'm never returning.
Fair enough, Joe. Fair enough. You're not coming back. Fair enough. You ain't want a second chance. You're not coming back. I respect that.
If I couldn't get it on the first time, I'm not coming back the second time.
But he himself has come out and said in press conference, if I can't do this, I will walk away. He has said that. So just like you saying you would walk away, he has said that. The man has said that. And I respect
I can't lie. I respect him more since the last interview, yeah? I've been struggling. I've literally been asking people on my streams, every stream that I'm on, yeah, when I'm cussing at Amorim or criticizing him or whatever, yeah, I literally said to bots the other day, or yesterday, sorry, tell me why I should believe. And he couldn't tell me anything. He didn't tell me anything. Yeah. And the only reason that I give myself reason to believe for next season is because he hasn't had a transfer window. And I personally feel sorry for the manager thus far in the league because they brought him here for no reason. Everything that you just said, Riri, is the reason why I feel sorry for the guy, and I'm not condemning him to fuck off yet. That's the real truth. Let me just be real honest, yeah? If he had a transfer window last season, yeah, if he started and he had a transfer window and it was him this season, I would have been cuffed.
In January, I would say
he didn't get one. He didn't get one. This man
got a couple of players in, XYZ. Like to Wajid's point, they pushed Anthony out the door, and a lot of people could put the blame on Amorim, but I personally believe it wasn't just Amorim. They pushed Rashford out the door. They pushed Anthony out the door. And you go and bring two 17-year-olds to do what? To do what? And then you have
I mean,
Ineos over here talking about, oh, they're trying to build a young squad. These men are telling y'all what they're going to do. Which coach or manager is going to come in here and take a young squad, probably one or two experienced players, but majority of a young squad to a Premier League championship? Give me a manager. You guys give me a manager that can do that, and I will say, okay.
You got Fergie, innit? That's the only thing you can do.
Bro, Fergie in his first season almost got relegated. People forget that.
I remember that. Listen, you want to, you know all the things I said about THDL, yeah? Let me not get back on my THDL horse, yeah? Because these are the things I was saying back then, yeah? Look at, but anyway, yeah? Look, Amorim could be the second coming of Ten Hag. I swear down. I beg. I don't actually want to fire another manager. I think that's where everybody gets me confused, isn't it? I don't want to fire another manager.
I'm not saying that, Joe. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is it's not a dig at you personally. I'm talking about.
I didn't think he was. Sorry.
Because personally speaking, for me, it's getting to the point now where I don't want to look at no lives. I don't want to go on Instagram and read no comments, because this fan base is toxic. It is toxic. It is the most toxic fan base I have ever come across in a lot of years. A lot of years. It is so
because toxic. We're just seeing it now. It's so because toxic. We're just suffering. It's because we're just suffering.
It is coming from a place of entitlement. It is that entitlement mentality that is causing it. We'll be so used to getting things handed to us that we never appreciated having to suffer. Because we had a Fergie that will go into another club and pick their best player and integrate into our squad. Now we are having to. We've seen bad owners. We've seen people doing things the bad way, and we've had to struggle. And we cannot just come to terms with the fact that this is part of the process. You know, the analogy I would give, which is not the one Riri gave, but a different one. When you're conducting an experiment, you have a set of variables, right? And when the variables are in a particular order, so if you conduct an experiment and it does not work, or it's not giving you the result you want, you change one of the variables. Let's say you have 3 variables. You change one. If you change the first one and you see that the result has not changed, then you would assume, okay, maybe it's not this variable A that I need to change. Let me go to variable B and change it. And then you change B. It's still not giving you what you want. You go to the next variable. You keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you get what you want. Amorim has come into Manchester United. And there is a variable that he knows that works, and that is his system. And for all that people have said about the 3-5-2, this one, that one being a defensive system, we saw a 3-5-2 versus an ultra-attacking Barcelona system in the Champions League semi-finals, and the 3-5-2 won. In the last 3 seasons, we've seen the 3-5-2 get to 2 Champions League finals. So the 3-5-2 can score goals for you when needed. It doesn't always have to be ultra-defensive. So he comes in with a system and that he knows that works. But for some reason, the players are not delivering. What is the most logical thing to do? Change one of the variables. So does he change his system that works? Or does he change the players that have failed under multiple systems? The first thing to do is to change the players. And then when you change the players and put in a different set of players, and the result is not going well, then you start tweaking your system. But if he has not had the opportunity to change players, and the players that are here have failed under previous systems, why are we now head over heels about the system? The system. I remember I asked a few months ago, these players have played 4-3-3. They failed. They have played 4-2-3-1. They failed. If there was a match that we played 4-4-2 and we played ultra defensive, and that match ended 0-0
They probably failed.
under Ten Hag. So why is it that people are so hell bent on him changing? What is the guarantee that the players are going to succeed under any formation? The one thing that he should be allowed to change, the one variable he should be allowed to change, is some of the players. If we are building up but we are not scoring goals, let him change the attacking players. Amorim's style is built on running, running, running. If you cannot run for 90 minutes, you cannot play Amorim football. If you cannot run, and that's why I've mentioned several times, Garnacho is very important in Amorim's system because he's literally the only outlet. But we don't have any more runners. How many attacking runners do we
that's
have?
why I think Uncle, I'm not being funny, but that's why I think he likes Mason Mount so much, because he's a more of an inside player, yeah, who can also run. Let's face it, yeah. And you always said this from the beginning of the season, yeah. After we got Amorim, you said that you thought that Mason Mount was going to be very important to Amorim's system. I remember you saying this
Exactly,
early, very, very early, yeah. That's stuck in my head, yeah. Even when I made the bets against all these people, yeah, because I agreed with you in that sense that they're gonna like him, but I just didn't think he was gonna be available. And yeah, lo and behold, that's what's happened. Yeah. Now the guy likes this guy, right? And he can play. But what I'm trying to say to you is, Uncle, when it comes down to it, yeah, just having people that can play the system, why is it that these people, yeah, they might be important, but they're still not doing the shit that he wants? They're still not doing it when he wants them to do it. You see the disappointment in this man's face, yeah? And this is what and you know what? Because it's this time as well, I'm going to lead this into the second part of this conversation that I wanted to have with all of you guys, yeah? Is it really going to be enough? Is the summer going to be enough? Really? Let's say we get 6 players, yeah? And that's the maximum I think we would get anyway, yeah? Let's say we get 6 players. Are those 6 players good enough to get us anywhere close to where we need to be for next season for him to keep his job?
Let me ask you a question, and I'm gonna answer you, but I want to know where your expectations lie for next season.
Mm-hmm.
If we get those 6 players in, where is your expectation?
Well, if he gets 6 players off his choosing, yeah, his top 6 players, yeah, I want him to finish at least between 7 and 8. For the end of the season, he needs to finish between 7 and 8 at least. Minimum. I would hope for more, but 7 and 8 is the minimum I'm asking for him. Before me, I won't say manager out.
Fair,
but yeah, I won't say manager out.
So I think we discussed this on this show also, and I said we have a couple of legitimate outgoings, like we know coming off the wage bill. Mm-hmm. Lindelof, Eriksson, Evans. Now I hear they say Heaton, they're gonna keep him, but I thought he was gonna go.
Well, I think that's more because of he's like a part-time coach as well there as well. I think
right.
that's
we have Lindelof, Evans, Eriksson, hoping to sell Anthony, hoping to sell Rashford,
yeah.
Right?
Sancho.
I don't know. I don't even like saying that dude's name because that situation is just it angers me. Like to all end, it angers me.
Which one? What, Rashford?
Sancho.
Oh, Sancho. Oh, let's not talk about it.
Exactly. Because at this juncture, I don't even think it's a hope to sell him. Who wants him? That's the thing. So that's a different conversation.
I'm worried.
That's a different conversation altogether where he's concerned. Right? So okay, so we got 3 and 2 possibles, right? To get off the wage bill. Rashford and Anthony are 2 big wages on our wage bill right now, right? Wajid, I'm not overstating anything.
I think that's fairly common anyway.
Right. Let's say he gets in. Well, we're going for Gokares. Am I correct? We're trying to get him.
Who knows? Right.
Apparently is supposed. Here we go was supposed to be last week. The way people were talking. So
How about that one? It looks more like Arsenal's going to get him now. Well,
well,
I
look at
don't know.
that. Look at that. Right? Who else are we linked with? I stand.
The lap, innit? The lap is looking more likely. I saw other reports from
So-
different sources today saying that the lap is looking more likely than
Yeah.
anybody else. So you know that
And
30
we're
million
about to
player,
pay what? 60 for a relegated player?
No, third. I think it's the. I think it's
30?
30,
30?
30.
30 for a
But here's the
relegated
thing
player.
though, Cunha, yeah. Here's the thing about Cunha as well, though, yeah. Cunha, with 62 million, right? That's the reports for him, correct?
roughly, yeah.
Why are we not trying to get someone else for that kind of money, though? I'm not being funny. Like, why don't we get a top striker for that kind of money?
You're preaching to the choir
Right.
in my regards. Like
Exactly.
I don't want.
That's
I don't
how I
want
feel too, where he's concerned. And he plays for the national team I support. Right? And I am not excited about him coming to Manchester United. But to speak to your point, Joe, like I feel if he gets, and again, I don't, because of what Eric Ten Hag did when they gave him some power to choose the players he wanted to come in, and now Ineos is like, okay, we're not doing this again.
Yep.
We're gonna have some say so. I really don't think Amorim will get 6 players that he wants. I think he's.
I don't think Amorim needs 6.
I think he's going to have
I
to
think-
come.
I know,
How much do you
Unks-
think he needs, Uncle, then?
No, Unks, I
How much
think
do
he
you think?
does.
Uncle, hold on, Uncle. How much do you think he needs then?
Ideally, if there was no rules, ideally, if we change the entire squad, fantastic. But obviously, it is not an ideal situation, right? Now, there
Talk realistically,
is football psychology, right? And in football, one of the things that happens is when you are trying to score an opponent and you try and try and try and you're not doing anything, even if the opponent was afraid of you, eventually they start growing in confidence and then they feel like they can bite you where it hurts. Now, apart from the relegated teams, if you take away the relegated teams, Manchester United has scored the second lowest goals this season. Our attack is our main problem. Does it mean we don't need change in the midfield and defense? We do. But I don't think they are not things that can't be managed. You understand? Our problem is when we get to that attacking third, we do next to nothing. Even though we hear the statistics of Bruno being one of the highest chance creators in Europe. We get to the attack, we see Garnacho will not pass the ball. We shoot even an open goal and he will miss. Rasmus is nowhere to be found. We don't have any other 10 that can put the ball at the back of the net and all that. And that's why when we go through games and teams sit back and they say that we cannot break them down, they gain confidence and they move. So if we can get attacking players that can really push and score first 1 or 2 goals, the moment you put the ball at the back of the net, the other team will be forced to adjust and to adapt. And the moment they are forced, you will start seeing more loopholes to score more goals. The problem is Man United does not score goals. So the team are not worried about changing their setup. So I think where we need structure, where we need change especially, is in the attack. If we can penetrate teams' backlines and actually put the ball in the back of the net, I think the entire dynamics will change. If teams know that if Manchester United come here, within the first 20 minutes, they have killers that will score at least 1 goal, teams will not play the low block that they are playing against us because they would also want to win matches.
Uncle, this is what I'm saying though. Yeah, look, let's get back to the question that I was asking, because the initial question that I was asking was, what if he gets 6 players? You said you didn't need 6 players. Yeah. So what does he need? 5, 4? Who does he need? Where does he need?
No, I'm saying
because for me,
ideally,
I think that he needs 6 players.
Ideally, he should get 7 or 8 players.
Like I personally think he needs 6. 6
Yeah, I
to start.
think
6 to start.
yeah, ideally.
And then you got the January window to do something again. So you got 2 windows.
And look,
Ideally, if you
Uncle, let
get
me be
8, 9
honest with you.
players, fantastic. But he
I'm
will not
trying to
get
be
that number.
realistic. Exactly. Let's be realistic, yeah. Manchester United traditionally buy about 5 players. So I'm saying 6 to be nice. Yeah. I'm saying 6 to be
We're
extra.
under, hold up. No. We're under a different regime who have brought in their choice of manager and given their publicity in the last year has not been great. I think it's going to be a different summer, in my opinion. But continue. So I
It's
just
going
want
to
to add
be.
to
You
that.
think it's going to
Say
be
that
honest? What
last
you say
part again. I
different?
didn't hear the last part.
I think they've got a lot of fun.
I think we will sign players.
They've got a lot of fanfare to win this summer,
Yes,
especially with
we
the
will
way.
Do you
sign
think they're going
players.
to sign bare players? Yeah.
I'm not saying
Do you think they're signing bare players?
I'm not saying bare players like there's
Give
gonna
me a
be
ballpark.
I think we'll be in 6 to 7 in my honest opinion.
Just for publicity
Ooh,
sake and to
I'm
look
feeling
good in
it.
the press.
In my
I'm
opinion, like
feeling
I
it.
said, it's in my opinion because I just think Ineos's first year has been so bad in terms of ticket prices, the football, the staff cuts, the wage cuts, the state of Old Trafford, and things like that. I like their public perception. Their public perception matters as well.
You know, you're very right. You're very right. And you know, before I go on to the last thing, before I want to cut off, yeah, let me just read these super chats because there's been quite a few. K Mill says, Joe, stop moving like Booker T on Eric Ten Hag. It's embarrassing. Nah, shut up. Anyway, how do you say this name? Dune?
Dune.
Dune, yeah.
Or
Decent
Duane.
Dwayne.
Premier League
It
teams.
could be Dwayne
I don't-
too, depending on
Duane Mulanda.
or Dwayne.
Oh, cool, thank you.
Mm.
No, that was supposed to be a bomb, not a shut up. Sorry. It's supposed to be a bomb, not a bomb. Okay. Duane Mulanda
Oh no,
says,
I told you it's Dwayne. It's Dwayne.
He's put it in the
It's
chat.
Dwayne. I
Dwayne.
told you it's Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Okay, Dwayne
Me, I
Mulanda
will
then.
call you Duane, no problem.
He says decent Premier League's team. I don't know what PNP mean. What's PNP mean, people?
P and P.
PNP.
Oh, I don't
Decent Premier
know.
League teams, PNP, board stability, 10 plus goal scorer, a goalkeeper, a progressive midfielder, and athletes. We don't have that,
Oh,
in my
pace and
opinion.
power.
Pace and power. Okay, yeah. In my opinion, if we get if he gets sacked, then consider us mid and get a relegation manager. I mean, so basically, what you're saying that he hasn't got the tools to do the job that he needs right now is what you're saying, Dwayne. Yeah, that's
Basically,
basically
that's
what I'm
what
getting
that
from
boils
that.
down to.
So Dwayne also says 3-4-2-1 is a flexible formation. It changes in the game. I get what you're saying. I know you could flexibly go to a 4 back, you could flexibly go to a 4 mid, a 5 mid. I get it. I know what you're saying, but does it happen in match though? Are the players intelligent enough? Because one thing that really sticks in my mind is that something that Ab said, and he's repeatedly said it over and over again, that he was always worried about this team being able to play his
Style.
formation, his style and his formation because they're too stupid.
They're so used to
Yeah.
playing what they're used to playing. I mean, your guy said that he couldn't play his formation because they wouldn't adapt to it.
It's
No.
true.
And
It's true.
that is why the variable that needs to change is the players.
No, he threw his shit out 5 games in. I ain't having this shit.
Listen, yeah.
You know I'm just out here.
So Dwayne
shooting the breeze.
Dwayne says, Dwayne says, money won't fix it. Culture is rotten to the core, and I kind of agree with that.
That is a very valid point, also.
Very valid point. And Dwayne also says we need specialists in wing backs and 10s for sure. But this is something that's also been worrying. I think
Thank you, Dwayne, for all the contributions.
Yeah, do you know what, Dwayne? Big yourself up, man. Thank you very much. Yeah. I just want to say as well, but that is this last thing here, yeah, is one thing that's been worrying a lot of the fan base as well. That the fact that he needs such specialists in his areas is that going to be a detriment to us as well if we decide to move on. And the one thing I did want to drag into this conversation before we ended, guys, is would it be
But he doesn't
time
need specialists. I think we just make it up. We make it up.
I was just gonna say as well, yeah. You answer that question, yeah, but also put into this because I just wanted to ask because we're gonna end soon, yeah. is it time to think about selling Bruno now as well? That's the last thing we want to put in there. Is it time to think about it? Because it's prime, he's prime age. If we get a decent enough offer, is it time from this panel of sensible people? I think I'm the only crash out person here. Is it time
It depends.
to consider? Yeah, yeah. Actually, I've seen both Riri and Wajid both crash out recently. If I'm being honest with you, so but is it time to consider cashing in? Because it could be too late after
I've
the
asked
season.
this question elsewhere, and I'll ask again. Isn't it also up to the player to want to go if the player is on a contract?
I mean, yes, but I'm saying, look, if the option's there, are you taking it or not taking it? Are you coerced? Are you
I have said if
into
it's
taking the deal?
150 to 200, yes, definitely. I've said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
150. See you later.
Yeah, I've said that. I've said that.
Yes, and as I was before I even I totally agree. The 150 to 200 will rebuild. I've given instances of teams that sold a big player and used that money to rebuild. I would rather depend on 2-3 players than to rely on one. And when that one is not on form, the entire team suffers. So let's spread Bruno's workload across the team. Regarding that stuff you said about specialists, Amorim never said he needed a specialist. I think the problem is, like I said, when we are in a certain frame of mind, we take things and we just form a mountain out of a molehill. In Sporting, he used wingers as
Ryan,
wing
why are
backs.
you putting up with a comment of an Arsenal fan who farted on stream like he's
I
giving
mean,
an
because
opinion?
Don't mind that
it's not
nonsense.
a Manchester United channel, bro. I'm just everybody's got an
So
opinion,
what?
like an
It's
Arsenal.
hypothetical. It's all hypothetical.
Ain't none of us,
But
none of us saying he's gonna pay 150. We're saying that's what he's gonna go for.
That's the price.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So as I was saying,
These
in
people take
Sporting,
everything
Amorim used wingers.
literally, bro. Everything literally. Sorry,
Amorim used wingers as wing backs. And that is what he said. He said he would rather use wingers as wing backs. In Inter Milan, Denzel Dumfries is a fullback that was converted to a wing back. So when we are looking at what Amorim wants, he's not saying go out there and get me a wing back to play wing back. Ahmad is playing wing back. He's not a wing back by trade. But we can see how Amorim is utilizing him in the wing back positions. Amorim just needs people in the wing back that can attack more than they defend. That is what he wants because he has enough defensive structure and the midfield to cover for those people's overlapping. See where Patrick Dogo was when he gave Garnacho that assist that Garnacho missed. In that match against these people, Real Sociedad, Abi.
Bilbao.
Yeah.
Bilbao, rather. Yes. You see where Dogo was. So he wants those people that can attack. You understand? That is one thing Dogo is still getting used to because he's been told to attack and defend. He's not still positionally as aware. He's not still as used to that position. It's something he needs to learn, and he will learn it over time. But Amorim would rather attackers playing in that position. He's not asking for wing back specialists.
I mean, I can't wait to see it, because
I
one
don't
thing I've been saying.
I don't think he needs specialists. We
No?
need, no, I don't think he needs specialists, but we do need a striker. Like we just need a striker.
That's the one specialist you must agree that
But
he
that's
needs.
not what he needs. That's what the goddamn team.
Yeah, but everybody needs a striker.
Everybody needs. Even
A
if you
striker
bring
is a striker regardless of
another
formation.
manager in, we need a striker.
It's so true. But I can't look. Let's forget all of this now, yeah. I think right now, going into next season, I don't want to put doom and gloom on this team. Yeah,
he can't start, but no, it's fine. He can't start badly. He can't. It's
important.
No, it's fine.
Really can't.
I'll say for Joe. I'll say for you. I'll say the same thing for Amorim as I said for Ten Hag when he won the FA Cup. If he's still here, if he's first 5 games, if it's a win, 2 draws, 2 losses,
you gotta go.
Then you gotta go. And then you find it.
And I
first
said
5 games. First 5.
it's going to be that toxic. It's going to be as toxic as it is under Ten Hag, and Ten Hag got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right?
You see,
Yeah,
it's
but
crazy.
I agree with that context. Joe, listen to his context. He said first 5 games, 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses. Surely we can win at least 2 games in the first 5.
You don't know though. That's what I'm saying. This is what
Regardless,
but
regardless.
I still feel bad for the guy. That's what I'm saying. I still feel bad for the guy.
but
He's getting.
I
He's
wouldn't say
getting
he should
he's
go.
getting short.
I wouldn't say he should go after 5 games, but I think if after 5 games is 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses, after he has gotten his players, then
yeah,
questions should be asked because I can see
I
what he's trying to do. He's trying to build a structure now so that when he gets his signings, he just puts them in those positions with the structure already taking shape.
Yep.
That is what he's trying to do now before he gets his players.
because of how no one expected this season to be as bad as it's gone under him. Like everyone expected more wins. So whatever grace he'd have had at the start of next season, that could have been carried over if he was still implementing the system and there was a style of play. That shit's totally out of the window given how bad it is. So that's why I'm saying it has to be
You
an
have to
electric.
hit, as they say, hit the
you
ground
have to hit
running.
the ground running. Yeah, like it doesn't. Like no one's gonna give a shit if you're coming up against City, Chelsea. If your first 5 games are City, Chelsea,
Bro,
Arsenal,
I hope we
Tottenham,
have like
Liverpool,
the first
no one,
easiest 5 games.
no, but
That's what I'm praying for.
but like, yeah, it don't. No one gives a shit who those first 5 games. No one gives a shit who those first 5 games. And to be honest, and to be perfectly honest, in those first 5 games, if we're in the Super Cup, I want to win the Super Cup. There's no excuse for not winning the Super Cup. There's no excuse for not winning the Super Cup either, in my opinion, because those are the teams those are the type of caliber teams we're going to be facing.
Don't you think? So don't you guys think that is kind of almost facing a Herculean task then with this?
No, but Joe, when you look at those teams that we are talking about, how did he perform against those teams this season with a squad that is not that good? We didn't do badly against Liverpool. We didn't do badly against Man City. We didn't do badly against.
But those teams are going to also improve next season. So for everybody to say that,
our squad is already worse than our squad is already worse than their current squad. Yeah, but and we still played well against those teams. That is exactly my point. At 17th, we still played well against those teams. So if we buy players, surely we should do a bit better, regardless of what those teams buy.
But what is a bit better? A bit better doesn't mean you're gonna win. Yeah.
But you will not lose.
Listen, I would hope this is my hope for the summer going into next season. I would hope these men do him a solid. Like fingers crossed, toes crossed.
Everything crossed.
I would get him a proper striker. At least get him a proper striker. That's the
striker that can command the attack.
But which
striker that if Garnacho looks at
it, right. So you know when your mom just say when you pray and you got pray exact. So pray exact. All the things Uncle just said, that's the kind of striker we need. At least, Joe, they can.
And what if he only gets the lap? This is the thing. This is why.
No, he will not.
Joe, let me
finish. There's no excuse. My fear is that he won't get.
Joe, there's no excuse. Joe, and I'm saying, for everyone who says give him the summer shit like that, there is no excuse. United managers here have never had their first choice. Cool, but no manager in the world has always had their first choice.
But Wajid, we all know we've been crying out for a striker for the last 3 seasons.
But strikers are not the only people that score goals, Joe.
If they do not give him a striker,
strikers are not the only people that score goals, Joe.
Uncle, I understand, but just let me finish, please. Yeah, we're all screaming out for a striker. We're all screaming out. We need a proper striker. We need a striker. We need a proper striker. Yeah, and then come this summer again, we don't get a proper striker. We get another development striker, and he's doing shit next season. And then we're gonna still say we need to score more goals.
But to Wajid's point, then the onus is on Ineos.
Yeah,
Because if
No,
Ineos
he
didn't get
did
their
it. No,
stuff,
no,
then they gotta pull the
no,
trigger on him, bro.
No, Joe,
Then
Joe,
they're setting him up for
Joe,
failure. So then
Joe,
he's gotta go.
Joe, it does not, like, I'm keep on telling you, next season, it does not matter anymore. He's been given the summer. They will have had multiple discussions about the players he wants, blah blah blah. He might not get his first choice. So do you know what? Do you know if we end up with Apprenticeship FC and BTEC FC with Hoyland, Chido, and Delap up front next season? Guess what?
Oh,
That's
God.
it. But that's his fault. And if he doesn't fit, and if the tens don't go to his system, that's his fault. There is no excuse.
Why is it his fault though? But why is it his fault? Please,
because
if they don't get like a first or second choice,
because none of us have £7 billion to buy the club. Do you have 7 billion? Do I have 7 billion?
no. But
Joe,
what
and
I'm
I
saying
think
is, why is
people
it
are
his
not being
fault?
Joe. Hold
I
on,
never
hold
said
on.
it's
I
your
think
fault. I said, why is it
Joe,
his
let me
fault?
tell
Reggie?
you. Joe, let me tell you. I think, like I said, we fans take one thing and we blow it out of proportion and we start running with it. Why is it that of all the things we choose to believe, we always try to believe and analyze the worst case scenario? Why? Why do we always pick that worst case? Why can't we say, what if Ineos bring in Gokores or another
I
strike?
can
Why
do
do
no,
we always have
uncle.
to pick
I
the
can do
worst
that.
case scenario? Even
I
though,
can do that. But
hold
then,
on, even
uncle,
though in the last season, that in the last summer transfer window that Ineos had, we saw the signings they brought in.
I
They
liked last
brought
season.
in, they did in the last on the first, that is the first ever summer window they had. And it was not for a manager that they fully backed. But somehow we choose to believe that when they now bring in their own man, they're not going to back him. And I keep asking, make it make sense. If a manager that they did not fully back, they spent all that money to satisfy him, you think they will now bring in their own man and not support him during the summer? Or do we just like basking in that worst case scenario?
Uncle. You have to look at look. All right, I'm gonna be very logical right now. Yeah, let's look at this logically. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to be as logical as Joe Blackman can be. Right now, now looking at the situation, Uncle. Yeah, I look at last summer and think, yes, Ten Hag got some of the things that he wanted, but he definitely didn't get everything he wanted. I'm not saying that every manager should get everything he wanted, but you know, when somebody says don't get rid of somebody, do you honestly, genuinely think that he wanted to get rid of Scott McTominay? Honestly, genuinely, do you think he wanted to get rid of Scott McTominay?
No, he didn't. Fine.
No, he did
But
not.
we don't
Well,
know.
there you go. Look, but
We don't know.
Uncle,
Let's
okay, I know, let's
just go
let's
let's just say
just
hypothetically.
hypothetically,
So
we don't know. We don't know for fact, but let's just lean on the side of what you really think. Do you know what I'm saying, Uncle? Yeah, and what you really think? Do you really think he wanted to get rid of Scott McTominay?
Are you asking me? Because
I'm asking
I will tell
you.
you, I don't know.
All right, fine. But
That
I'm
is
gonna
what I
say
will tell you.
I don't. Okay, fair enough. Look, I'm just gonna let
Joe,
me
just
get
run your
through the story.
hypothetical, please.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
just run
just
my
run your
hypothetical.
hypothetical regardless.
Yeah, because I gotta get out of here, Joe. So let's
Yeah,
wrap
sorry. Let me just end this. Yeah, look, I just don't think that the manager got everything that he's gonna get, and I don't think every manager does get everything they're going to get. Yeah,
Which
but
is fine.
there are things that are taken out of their hands as well that you also have to put into the mix, like stuff like that. Yeah, keeping someone like Scott McTominay could have been instrumental to someone's plans, but because they don't want it no more, and I do believe even worse so, it's going to be like that for this manager. Even worse so because Eric Ten Hag had more leniency when it came to transfers, and they still overrid him on certain things. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So coming up with this manager now, with his such a low finish in the league, yeah, even if he does get the Europa League, I can see that them doing the same thing that they done with Ten Hag in terms of like not. Because a lot of people said that when I keep on saying Ugarte was an Eric Ten Hag signing, people say no, it wasn't. It was the board bought him, and Euro. Oh no, it wasn't. The board bought him. Every time I say that, people say that. Yeah. So why don't they do the same thing and just overhaul him because they don't completely believe in him and get a couple of players that not really his top choice or not even his choice at all? Because that's what people tell me that it went Ten
Because
Hag's
it will
choice
hurt
for
the
players.
club financially, Joe.
Uncle,
Long
all I'm
term, it's
saying
not
is.
good for the club
Let me just
financially.
finish my hypothetical. My hypothetical is
Go ahead.
basically they're going to do what they want to do in the end of the day. Yeah, they're gonna do what they want to do, and whatever players they bring in is whatever player he's got to work with. So really and truly, it's not that much different to this season.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to get at. When they bring in what they want to bring in, is what they bring in, and that's the end of the conversation, Uncle.
And Joe,
That's what I'm trying to get at.
and Joe, I'll give it like I'll leave this as my last name, and then everyone else have the floor. It's like that. It's like that for every manager in world football, unless you're probably the Madrid manager, yeah. And guess what? You work with the tools you have. He has no excuse. No manager ever gets their first choice. Whatever Ineos and he do, for the most part, man, for the most part, right? Whatever Ineos and he have decided, have discussions with, bring in, that's who he has. There is no fucking excuse next year. End of. Like doesn't matter how good, doesn't matter if it's one player, doesn't matter if it's 0 players, doesn't matter if it's 11 players, doesn't matter if it's a whole squad. There is no excuse next year.
I am on
the. Sorry for the dude.
And my last thing is I agree with my Pakistani brother below.
Yes, and I will agree with him as well. Regardless of everybody don't always get their first option. That's why you submit a list, and then they will go through that list and do their own thing and get you somebody from there. He will not always have his top option, but regardless, it shouldn't be as bad as this. We can't have this next season, regardless of whether he gets. But I think we are just being too pessimistic with the potential signings. But regardless of what he gets, he should still do better.
1 hour and 15 minutes. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Yeah. Let me ask you guys quickly. What's your finishing? What you accepting like next season then? If he, regardless, there, because everybody's head say they don't give a fuck of what he gets.
Fifth,
yeah. So
fifth or sixth.
what you accepting?
I don't think
Fifth or
we'll make
sixth,
top
Riri?
four next season. 5th or 6th.
5th or 6th acceptable. Yeah. After that, manager out. Yeah.
No.
Okay. What's the line where you say manager out?
What's your base level? What's your base level that he finishes next year that you then want the manager's head basically? What's the lowest he can finish?
Doesn't make?
No, what's the lowest he can finish next season? Like what is the worst scenario that you want his head at the end of next season?
You can keep him.
So if he finishes,
after 6, if he finishes 7th,
he's done.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Uncle?
I think Europe is a good standpoint. Anything below Europe.
even Conference League, yeah.
Hey, well, that is Europe. It's not what we want, but Europe. So up until 7th, I think, yes.
Okay. And Wedge?
Top 6 on the cup.
Top 6 and the cup.
Yep.
Well, the cup is also Europe. The cup is also Europe.
Yeah. But yeah, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever, like top 6.
It leads us to Europe.
Yeah, Europe. Like Europa League Europe, but for me it's Europa League minimum.
And Europe.
For me it's Europa League minimum. Like there's no excuse.
No Conference League.
Nope. Not for me.
Nope.
I gotta get out of here, man.
No, I was about to end it anyway. Thank you, Riri. Thank you, Wedgie, and thank you, Uncle, for turning up. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. Take care, and please smash a like, guys, if you haven't already.
Hit that like button on your way out, people.
See you soon.
Drop a bomb.
Back with a vengeance. KT's back with an entrance. Big up to those in attendance.
Look at us.
Reds come together like Tetris. No rules, this one's reckless. KG, this one's crazy.
You're too look at us.
None can compare with the KG Don. Better take cover when he drops that. Going on reckless, just it's on. It's that time when he drops that.
I said drop a bomb, Dad.